Well, howdy folks, Alcrex here, and welcome to Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 145. And today we're going to be talking about the Vulcan, that 40-ton mech that, well, it could be better. It's not really a great mech, even in the 39 book, the 2T, which was a mech that was running around with paper mache for armor, but, you know, they did some improvements on it, and just let's delve into it. The 5M, the 5 mic Vulcan. Well, it's 40 tons. It has endo steel, which is a major improvement. House America decided to field something with some new technology, and well, that's a step forward in the right direction. It's a 696, so it does have the jump jets. It's still mobile. Some people would argue it's not fast enough, but you know, we can't have everything. It has 11 double heat sinks. You know, the previous edition had only 10 singles, which is obvious, but this one has 11 doubles, so it can dissipate 22 heat, and this mech can actually create that much heat. And so it kind of needs it. Now, the weapon, well, here's the still kind of a big issue, is it has only 80 points of armor, which is, well, sadly lacking, because I think it's 137 is the most this thing could have. So it is roughly 57 points short. So that is a few tons short of, well, needing more. Now, equipment loadout. Now, the previous edition had that AC2. Well, they got rid of the AC2. So it has a large pulse laser. So basically taking the tonnage that was wrapped up in that AC2 and converted it over to a large pulse laser. The only problem is that's got short distance. It has a medium pulse laser in the left torso. The right torso was a large laser. It has a flamer in the right arm. Still has a machine gun in the left arm with a ton of ammo in the left torso. Center torso and right and left torso we have the 6 jump jets, so 2 in each. So what do I think of the new and improved? Well, it's good because it has more armor, which, you know, actually the armor is pretty much the same. Sadly lacking. What can you say about it? Well, it still kind of has issues. My problem is that it doesn't have anything that can reach out and touch somebody. Now, one good thing is with that large pulse laser, you do have a better capability of hitting something with it. And you can't sneeze at a fairly large weapon system that can dish out and hit something. So if you're doing kind of the anti-scout rule with this thing, that big giant cannon and the medium pulse laser, if you get close enough to something, odds are you're going to be hitting them. And when you hit even mechs like this one, if you hit with a large pulse laser, you're going to probably punch a hole through the kind of paper mache armor that it may be carrying. So yeah, you're going to be doing a chance criticals. Now, the one thing I kind of not liking is that it still has that machine gun. Personally, I would have probably been more inclined to dump the machine gun in favor of another flamer. Because you got the tonnage wrapped up. You got 1.5 tons wrapped up in that thing. So I probably would have just kept it as another, keep with 2 flamers. That way you don't have to worry about any type of ammo explosion with that. That kind of mitigates the chance that you obliterate this mech, because it doesn't have case. You know, and anybody that's ever played this game has well know that getting hit in machine gun ammo and watching a mech totally obliterate itself because you hit machine gun ammo, which is personally, I have a big problem with machine gun ammo exploding and obliterating an entire mech. So, you know, I'd rather just get rid of the machine gun and just have another flamer. But, you know, not a big fan of that. So it would be something I would probably like to get rid of, because, you know, a flamer is good for killing off infantry also. You know, if you get some basic line crunchies running out there, and you hit them with a flamer, you're going to do some good damage to them also. You know, the same as a machine gun. I just rather have the less chance of exploding into a big pyrotechnic fireball. You know, that's just my opinion. You know, other people may just rather have a mech that's full of machine gun ammo and just go forward with it. I don't. Now, how would I use this thing? This thing, instead of having, well, I know I talked about the 2T, where the AC2 is kind of like a gambling long-range crit hunter, you know. So you have something that can shoot out at a really long range and kind of snipe away. Okay. And if you maybe put in some specialized ammunition or something in it, you know, you have something that could do something out at range. You know, kind of like if you see a VTOL or something of that nature, or vehicles, you know, you have a chance of just kind of doing motive hits and stuff like that. Now you have a mech that is stuck at range 10 or less. All right, so it's now a knife fighter, and more or less goes into the role of city fighting and stuff like that. So if you got this thing in a city fight, yeah, it's probably going to work pretty good, because then you can leap over buildings with a single bound, you know, kind of like Superman, and you're able to use it to that effect. Get in and get out. It's like jump in behind somebody, unload, jump away, cool off, do it again. Just that type of thing, where you can go from one city block to another, try to mitigate your amount of damage you could take while maximizing mobility. You know, it's like in and out, in and out, in and out. And if you had a couple of them like this, yeah, you could be alternating back and forth, that type of deal. Now, if you get this thing out into an open area where there's not enough terrain to keep it protected, somebody might just focus it down if you don't have enough movement modifiers. And that's the thing, where you're 696, you got to be moving as much as possible to try to deliver that large pulse laser to even be able to use it. So if you're not within 10, you're not a threat at all. You're just basically a damage magnet, or soaking stuff up for other targets out there. So that is the one thing you have to look at. So we'll talk about what some things we can do to change that. Now, there are some different variants. Let's just talk about the variants for a moment here. We had the 5T, which was kind of an original one. Removes the autocannon and replaces it with 3 medium lasers and 2 additional tons of armor. So that's one that's the FedCom. They kind of like doing, as reminds me, this only has an 800 battle value. All right, so that one has a little bit more battle value, over 900, because, you know, you got rid of the AC2 and replaced it with some more equipment. So that one wasn't so bad. That, you know, that's kind of the one where it's back into the role of being a knife fighter, getting close, because it doesn't have any long-range weapon systems. We got the 5M, which is one we just talked about, and then we have the 5S, which is another 3050 upgrade. This is how Steiner replaces the fusion engine with an extra light engine, and case to protect it from ammo explosion. So here we go. And it includes mask, which enables it to move even a little bit faster. This is, the AC2 has been replaced with an Ultra AC5. So we took that extra tonnage that you got from the XL engine, and then you put an AC5 Ultra on it. Okay, so and mass. So it has a burst of speed, and you have case to protect it from at least killing the pilot or blowing the mech completely sky high. Yeah, yes, if you do lose a torso, because the Undersphere, you have to put the case in a right or left torso, unlike in clans where you can throw it anywhere you want to, wherever that ammo is, you're going to have case with it. But people always argue, what's the purpose of even having case in pickup battles? Well, it doesn't really matter in that case, because case is more or less, if you're playing campaigns, if you lose an XL engine and you only get 3 engine hits, it's not going to be obliterating the entire mech. And that's the thing with if you lose the center torso area, typically that means you got 6 engine hits and that's it. That's done. It just completely, you got a pile of junk. But with case and you're only losing 1 torso, at least you have some salvage parts there that you can be used to fix this thing back up with. Okay, we got the 5SR, which is kind of a little bit farther down the range, like 20 years down the range. We got the Jihad era. It has 2 extra heat sinks, a plasma rifle, and a medium laser, machine gun, and flamer. It's outfitted with masks. Basically, it's the same one, but you know, we're just getting rid of the autocannon for a plasma rifle. Then we have the 6C, which is Word of Blake, around 70. Started using C3. So now we have, you know, that's one thing the Word of Blake always did. They had the C3 network on everything, which, you know, makes sense. Has a ER large laser and ER medium laser, and then it has the C3I computer, and removes a heatsink to allow the replacement of the machine gun with 3 light machine guns in an array. Okay, so basically you got something that just mows down infantry right and left. So that's basically what it is. But you know, you downgraded some of those heavier weapons. Like in this case, you have a large pulse laser that downgraded to a large laser to save some tonnage, so you can put other weapons systems on board. Then we got the 5M. Okay, the 5M. Very few of these were replaced. It has an additional XL engine, swapped out the ER for, it has an ER medium laser. It allows light Gauss rifle. Now, so we're talking about something that a little bit lighter on the light side for a Gauss rifle, but it has 2 tons of ammo for it. So it has some time where it can sit there at range and shoot out. And then they been upgraded with 5 tons of ferrofibrous armor. All right, especially, you know, that's a decent amount of armor on board to keep it going. So, which brings us into what would we do with this one? All right. So, if you like the Vulcan 5M and the way it is, okay, you can go to battle with it and just enjoy your time with it. Okay, not a big deal. That's, you know, that's your prerogative. But I have a tendency, let's just change things out. So basically, all I ever, you know, always did with this one, take the 5M and then do the same thing where I would exchange that large pulse laser with an ER large laser. So now you can shoot out to 19. So you do have something that has a little bit more range. It's not the same as a longer range with the AC2, but you're gaining a lot more damage. And, you know, you do have the double heat sinks with it already, so it's not a big issue for heat wise. And then you're saving up a couple more tons there, so you're downgrading by 2 tons. And you have some choices here. What I did was, like I said, I converted the 1 machine gun into another flamer, so you got 2 flamers, right and left arm. Then you have the large laser in the right torso. Then you have the medium laser in the left torso. But one thing I did was put on ferrofibrous armor, dropped off 1 heat sink. I can mitigate my heat a little bit better through heat management. That frees up another ton. So what I did was I put ferrofibrous armor on, which kicks this up to 134 points of armor, and then added 2 more medium lasers to pick up, you know, a little bit of extra damage. So now you have something that is good at short range, and then it has something that can shoot out at range. So now you have 2 flamers, 3 medium lasers, an ER large laser, and 10 double heat sinks with 134 points armor. And still a 696. So you didn't really change much on it other than playing with some of the weapon systems and heat sinks a little bit. So it's not a major change on this thing. And it still has 5 crit spots left to do whatever you want to do with it. That's the one thing that the 5M had, like 20 open slots. So what's the reason for not throwing on some ferrofibrous armor on it? See, that totally makes sense to me, is tossing on some ferrofibrous on it. So there you go. That is the one change I typically always run with it. I call it, you know, it's just a 5M, but it's been upgraded with some different systems. So all I did was swap out the machine gun for flamers, downgrade the large pulse laser to an ER large laser, drop 1 heatsink, and then ferrofibrous armor and couple medium lasers. So there you go. So that is a pretty good system. I always like running that one. It can do the job out at plinking away with some weapon systems. You got the armor to handle a few extra hits, and it has something that can shoot out at range. And if you get into a city fight, you still have weapon systems to really cause some pain to somebody and not worry about heating up so much if you don't throw in the large laser on board. So you could hit them with the 2 flamers, 3 medium lasers, and jumping, and you're doing pretty good there when it comes to the heat. And then going back and forth. Now if you just fire the large laser, obviously you can jump, fire the large laser, and still be cool. Throwing anything else in there, you're causing heat problems. So that is one of them. Now there is, for those individuals that like to look at some of the other versions that want to speed this thing up a little bit, if you're inclined to play with the engines on board, you know, that is a possibility. You could upgrade it to a larger engine, make it a 711-7, and keep the flamers on board. So you have 1 right and left arm, so you get 2 flamers there. Keep the medium lasers that you had in the left torso, and then you're stuck with what are you going to do, because now you're sitting at looking at what can I do for crit areas. But I have this extra tonnage. This is what I did. Now you could mess with it however you want to, but I upgraded that ER large laser to a PPC, ER PPC, obviously. Now we still got the 10 doubles, so if you did jump and fire the PPC, you're going to have some problems. But then you have 2 medium lasers and a medium pulse laser, because you have that extra tonnage. It has to go someplace, and you still got 134 points of armor. So that's almost maxed out, just a half ton short, but it's not worth the 3 points you're going to get with it. But you know, you're using up every single crit slot because it's taken up by Indosteel and the ferrofibers. So basically you just took the same mech, increased its speed, and then changed out some weapon systems on board. Upgraded. Basically, large pulse laser and PPC are interchangeable when it comes to tonnage. So that's, you know, the one thing you can look at. So that is a couple options that you can play with. Now, if you have any questions about the mech, go ahead and let me know down below. If you have any rules or anything that you like to talk about, you know, just look it up in the books and page numbers and what book you find it in. We can discuss it from there. So there you go. That is the Vulcan. Some options, some variants, what you can do with it. So, not a bad mech if you do a couple minor changes to it. Like and subscribe, share with all your friends, and we will talk with you later. Elk Rex out.